Joe Biden was vice president, our liberties and most cherished values were under assault. I mean, when Joe Biden was vice president, the freedom of religion was under steady assault by the federal government. The conscience rights of doctors and nurses was eroded. Religious charities had their conscience rights compromised. And Joe Biden actually, in the last administration, hauled a group of nuns who had taken a vow of poverty to help the underserved community, hauled them into court to force them to compromise their faith and heal under the mandates of Obamacare. And if you doubt that this intolerance is broad-based in the Democratic Party today, you know, the leading Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, 2 years ago, when Coney Barrett was being considered for the Court of Appeals, said that they were concerned about Judge Barrett's Catholic faith because she said, quote, "The dogma lives loudly within you." And Hollywood elites started to ridicule Coney Barrett's faith ever since. Well, I got news for the Democrats in Washington and their friends in Hollywood. That dogma lives loudly in me. That dogma lives loudly in you. And the right to live and work and worship according to the dictates of our faith lives loudly in the Constitution of the United States of America. Under President Donald Trump, we've stood strong for the freedom of religion. We repealed the Johnson Amendment, freeing up the pulpits of churches, places of worship across this country. We restored the conscience rights of doctors and nurses and religious charities. And President Donald Trump ended the assault on the little sisters of the poor, and the Supreme Court made it permanent. Under President Donald Trump, we're going to defend the freedom of religion of every American of every faith. So help us God. And finally, with regard to values, where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth, I couldn't be more proud to serve alongside a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. So it's amazing to think what we accomplished in those first 3 years and the choice that we faced. I mean, in our first 3 years, we rebuilt our military, we revived our economy, we stood for law and order, liberties, and life. And none of that would have been possible without the strong and consistent support of North Carolina's Republicans in Congress. It's true. So, right after you re-elect President Donald Trump, right after you send Dan Forrest to the governor's office and re-elect Senator Tom Tillis to the Senate, we need you to send all of North Carolina's Republican congressmen and women to a new Republican majority in the House and retire Nancy Pelosi once and for all. Out. You know, when you look at what we were able to accomplish with the Republican House and a Republican Senate just in those first 2 years, there's only one way you can describe it. In 3 short years, with your support, we made America great again. And then 2020 arrived, and the coronavirus struck from China. But before the first case of community spread anywhere in this country, President Trump did what no American president had ever done. He suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. President Trump put the health of America first. Now, Joe Biden said at the time that that was xenophobic, essentially said it was racist. He said it was hysterical, and that banning travel during a global pandemic would, quote, make things worse. But Joe Biden got it wrong. President Trump got it right. I can tell you, as the head of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, President Trump's decision to shut down all travel from China saved untold American lives because it bought us time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. It's true. We reinvented testing. We saw to the manufacture and distribution of billions of supplies of PPE to our incredible doctors and nurses. We went to work on medicines, therapeutics that are saving lives, even as we speak. And as I stand here today, we're just a short time away, before the end of this year, of having the first safe coronavirus vaccine and tens of millions of doses for the American people. And as we continue to contend with this pandemic, we see cases rising in communities around the country. I want to promise each and every one of you, we're going to continue to move heaven and earth to make sure that our doctors and nurses have all the supplies and resources they need to give any member of your family the level of care that we'd want a member of our family to have. We're going to keep protecting the vulnerable. We're going to keep saving lives. We're going to keep developing saving medicines until we reach that day that we put this coronavirus in the past with a vaccine. And under President Donald Trump, we are opening up America again. It's amazing to think, after losing 22 million jobs at the height of this global pandemic, in the last 5 months alone, on the foundation that we poured in those first 3 years, on the unprecedented relief efforts the President secured for families and businesses from the Congress of the United States, we've already seen 11.5 million Americans go back to work, including 320,000 people right here in the Tar Heel State. We're opening up America. And the North Carolina economy is rolling back. But to open up America again, we need 4 more years of President Donald Trump in the White House. And to open up North Carolina, we need Dan Forest in the governor's mansion. I love that. How about win, Forrest, win? Win, Forrest, win. Let's hear it for Dan Forrest, everybody. He's going to go out there and bring North Carolina